Hey guys, welcome back. It's time to dive into chapter 2 of Easter. I cannot wait. So go get your zine, go grab all your tools, and meet me right back here. All right guys, let's take a look at our visual for this week. We've got this super fun Jesus with this blue ombre in his hair. Isn't that so cool? Have you guys ever dyed your hair a super fun color? Maybe purple or yellow or blue. So we've got Jesus here. He's got these cool sunglasses on that match the color in his waves, and he's holding a fish, and it looks like he's waving, or maybe he's like maybe doing kind of one of these things, or maybe he's calling someone over, maybe saying like, come with me, right? Like, come over here. Well, maybe our verse can give us some more clues. Our verse this week comes from the book of John. It's chapter 21, verse 19, and it says, follow me. Just follow me. So maybe that's what Jesus is saying here. Like, hey, follow me. Me, right here. Come over here and follow me. Guys, this looks like it's going to be a super fun story. I can't wait to dive on in, so let's do it. Alright guys, time to dive into our script. We're going to be reading Do You Love Me? So H, can you be Jesus and our narrator?
Okay.
And I will be Peter and the disciples. Alright, let's dive in.
Peter and the other disciples woke up early to go fishing. They set sail before dawn in their boat, casting their nets into the water.
Peter, have you caught anything yet? Not even one minnow. What is going on today? I'm going to try one more time.
Then off in the distance, the disciples heard a familiar voice shouting, Peter, have you caught anything? Toss your nets to the right side of the boat. The disciples tossed in their nets and caught more fish than they could haul in. Peter realized it was Jesus on the shore. With excitement, Peter jumped into the water and swam to him.
Jesus, I knew it was you. Are you preparing a fire for our breakfast?
Yes, Peter. Gather your fish, then come sit and listen.
Peter did as Jesus said.
Peter, I have 3 questions for you. Do you love me?
Yes, Lord, of course.
Then feed my lambs. Peter, do you love me?
Yes, Lord, of course.
Then tend my lambs. Peter, do you love me?
Yes, of course I do. Didn't you just see me jump out of the boat to get to you?
Then feed my sheep and follow me.
I'll go wherever you lead me. Whoa. That's a fun one. Oh my gosh, guys. All right, let's take a look at what we just read. So we've got the disciples, but at this point they weren't disciples yet, right? So they're just some fishermen heading on out early in the morning. The moon was probably still the thing up in the air, right? And they're like, okay, we gotta go, we gotta get out there, gotta get these fish early. And they're still fishing and they're not catching anything. And they're like, what is happening? Why can't we catch any fish? And then Jesus from the shore yells out, throw your nets on the left. And so they throw their nets on the other side. And all of a sudden they've got all of these fish. Their nets are full of fish, overflowing with fish. And they manage to pull it onto the boat. And Peter realizes that that's Jesus. So he swims out there and he's like, hey man, that was amazing. Thank you so much. I want to be with you. I want to follow you. I want to do whatever you tell me to do. And so Jesus is like, I've got 3 questions for you. But remember, they're all the same. And Jesus is like, do you love me? Peter's like, yeah, of course I do. And he's like, then feed my sheep. And then again, Peter, do you love me? Peter's like, yeah, I swam all the way out here. And Jesus is like, then feed my sheep. And one more time, Jesus says, do you love me? And Peter's like, yes, Jesus, I love you. And so then Jesus says, then feed my sheep and follow me. And Peter follows, and so do the other disciples. And this is how we get the 12 disciples, the 12 men that followed Jesus and helped to spread this good news. Isn't that so cool, guys? Wow. Well, let's dive into some fun facts and field notes. Whoa, guys. Jesus is trying to tell Peter something super important here. Now, anytime Jesus repeats himself, that means he's got something really important to either say or that he's trying to teach us something really important. And what Jesus is trying to say here is to the disciples is that when we love God, we love one another. Now, let's stop and think for a second. Do you think Jesus was hard of hearing or couldn't really hear really well? No. Do you think Jesus was trying to tell Peter to literally feed like actual real life baby goats and lambs? No. You see, those lambs and sheep were God's people. That's what Jesus was trying to tell him. And when Jesus told his disciples where to fish, he was giving them a clue of what would be ahead. You see, Jesus' disciples were fishermen, but God is going to change all of that. Soon, Peter and his friends would be casting their nets into the world so that the whole wide world would be captured by God's love and mercy. Isn't that just amazing that we, you and me, have been captured by God's love and his mercy? What? Now, I've got a few questions for you, but I need you to get your tools out. All right, guys, so my question is this. I want you to imagine that you're on a beach and Jesus is there and he's hanging out at a bonfire just for you, right there with you. And maybe you feel surprised or excited or maybe just a little nervous, the same way that the disciples felt. And from our story, we know that Peter felt shocked, he felt surprised, he was really excited, maybe a little confused with all the questioning, but all in all, just really happy to see Jesus, right? So draw Peter's emotions right here on this fish. With maybe like a little smile, and maybe you can add one down here that's like maybe like a little squiggly line for a mouth that's like, I'm not quite sure what's happening, but I'm here for it. And what do you think the other disciples were feeling? You can draw them right here. And you could maybe add some other little fish around too with their emotions about the other disciples who were probably really confused when Peter jumped out of the boat and started swimming towards some random guy, right? And then when they realized that it was Jesus and they were like, oh, whoa, I want to follow too. So draw their emotions on the fish. All right, guys, it's time for our comic strip. What I want you to do is imagine yourself on the boat. It's early in the morning. You just woke up. And now your boat is filled to the brim with fish. Maybe you're in the back of the boat and you don't see the fish. Or maybe you're in the front of the boat and you saw when the nets were coming up and you saw all of the fish starting to come up too. Maybe there was an octopus in there, or a sand dollar, or maybe there was like a baby shark in there. So I want you to imagine yourself on the boat in this story and retell it, putting all the details of what the fish looked like. Maybe you were talking to one of the disciples, but have fun. Well, guys, what a fun chapter we just did. And that was such a fun activity too. Now, before we leave today, let's say a little prayer. Dear Jesus, thank you for caring for us so much that you sent disciples and friends and family in the form of a net that captures us in your love and your mercy. In your name I pray. Amen. Well, guys, I can't wait to dive into chapter 3, and I'll see you there. Bye.